search. Call Mike Birch.
January brought record-breaking cold, but the sales here at Mike Birch Ford were smoking hot. So now we've got to move this pre-owned inventory. We've got a great selection of clean one-owner vehicles as low as $150 a month. Stop the search. Call Mike Birch or at MikeBirchFord.com.
Big Dog Country Radio, WIFO-FM in Jessup. 105.5 on your FM dial. Butch Everett here with you along with Bob Morgan on this Wednesday morning, the 21st day of February. And it's now time for the world-famous Butch and Bob Show, brought to you by Republic Services, Jessup Premium Storage, Murphy Builder Supply, Northeast Broad Street in downtown Jessup, and also brought to you by Mike Birch Ford in Blackshear. And I believe we have on the phone right now Representative Bill Werkheiser. Is that correct? Okay, hold on a second, Bill. Going to get you up here so Bob can talk to you. All right, hold on a second.
Okay, Mr. Bill, are you on the phone?
I am. Morning.
Morning. Glad to have you here on Wednesdays with Werkheiser. Getting close to the end of the session, crossover day next week. So I know yesterday we talked with Blake Tiller. He was awfully busy, so I'm sure you're busy as well. Give us an update. What's taking place today in Atlanta?
Yeah, it's been pretty crazy. Days are getting longer. So the big news yesterday was, as most people know, the federal government, the big tax change on the federal level created kind of a conundrum for the state because as they doubled, well, the tax law says however you file your federal return, if you take the standard deduction, you must take the standard deduction on your Georgia. And if you itemize, you must itemize for Georgia. Well, the federal change was it doubled the deduction, which did two things. It actually gave us, it was going to put about $5 billion of taxpayer money into our coffers, but it was really like taking it from the taxpayer. And so yesterday, the Governor Deal announced legislation that we would likewise double the deduction. So that the taxpayers were not hurt, and so there's been a lot of discussion the past week on how that was going to be done. And of course, there's a lot of details in that, but that was kind of the news yesterday. Lots of committee hearings. Everybody, as you mentioned, crossover day is a week from yesterday. And so everybody is scrambling to try to get their bills out. On a more fun note, I don't know when we're going to squeeze this in, but, we have different groups up every year or every day. And there's a fencing group, and I don't know how, but me and Senator Tillery are supposed to fence each other this afternoon. So we'll be a little break from the seriousness of everything, for at least for a few minutes.
Let's go back to the tax issue. Again, we had the story on the day. Like you said, a big story out of Atlanta says Governor Deal announced a proposal to slash income tax in Georgia in response to federal tax changes passed in December. He unveiled what calls one of the largest income tax reforms in Georgia's history. Governor's office estimates Georgia could collect $4.7 billion in added tax over the next 5 years because of federal changes. Deal had hoped to defer the question of how Georgia would use the funds until 2019, but changed his mind after receiving blowback from GOP leaders up for election in November. But he doesn't say what they're going to use the money for. So what are some of the proposals where we're going to spend all this money? Sounds like a lot of money.
Okay, so if we had not done anything, there would have been a $5 billion windfall. But with this legislation, the windfall will not be there. Because really what it was going to do is increase mine and your taxes, and that's where that money was going to come from. With this legislation, that money will remain with the taxpayer. So that windfall was done away with because there was a lot of pressure as a fairness issue that we shouldn't take advantage of that situation as a way to get more taxpayer money. So the windfall is not going to be there anymore.
Okay, so again, it says...
That makes sense?
I guess, but it says the proposal will cut top income tax tax rates for individuals and business from 6 to 5.75% in 2019. Option for further cuts in 2020 and double the standard deduction for all who file tax returns. So what does that mean?
Right. So for many years, the tax rate for and Georgia's a little unique in this is that we have the exact same tax rate for corporates and citizens, which has been 6% as far as I can remember. So we are dropping as part as in addition to doubling the standard deduction, we're actually lowering the tax rate. So you'll pay less taxes on both overall. So, and one thing it's going to do that's kind of unique, I mean, I've always itemized, so it will be interesting because doubling the standard deduction, that's a pretty big jump. So it hopefully will make everybody's return easier instead of, doing the Schedule A, that most people will probably take the deduction because it's just going to be it's going to be a tax savings for you federally and on the state level, all the way around.
Okay, again, with us on the phone is Bill Werkheiser from Atlanta, Wednesdays with Werkheiser. And as we mentioned, trying to update where we're standing. The adoption law has been passed, still has to be signed into law. We talked about the budget. Where are we at on the budget? Has the budget been passed as well?
It has been passed. The amended budget has passed both the House and the Senate. I think the Senate just did it a couple of days ago. The big budget, which is 2019, we've pretty much gone through all the processes. Now they're just putting it together. And we generally will not vote on that until the very last week of session, and then the Senate will get it literally within the last couple of days of session. But as far as all the work, all the committees, all the subs have met. So it's pretty much a done deal. Now it's just putting together a package so we can vote on it.
And what about district-wise? Anything that people in the district need to be aware of? Anything coming up for a vote or anything?
No. We do have some local legislation. In fact, 2 items for Jessup. One which is really smart. Well, both will be good. But right now, all the mayor and all the city, the councilmen or commissioners, their term is exactly the same. So you could have a situation where everybody got voted, and you would have no continuity, nobody from the previous administration on the new board. So I filed that last week. There'll be a notice in the paper, and so it will allow staggered terms. And then the other one was just updating the hotel tax to bring money in from those who stay overnight, which most of those people obviously are from out of the county, so it won't be an increase for anybody locally. But that money will be used primarily for economic development and tourism.
City of Jessup, they passed a resolution to get those staggered terms. You had to get the paperwork up there quickly to Atlanta. So you did get the paperwork, and it's going to be passed by the legislature. So they will have staggered terms coming up in the election next year.
Yes. Yeah, that is correct. And local legislation is a little easier. Even though it is a bill, it gets grouped in with all the other local legislation. Let's say one county's establishing an airport authority, and another county's changing the salaries of the judges. So there's about 15 to 20 local legislation items that we vote on as a whole, and those are generally non-controversial.
Okay, Bill. Again, appreciate you being here every Wednesday. Look forward to talking to you next Wednesday as we wind down the session. So, again, if anything earth-shattering takes place, I'm sure you'll let us know next Wednesday.
All right. Well, I appreciate it very much, and we'll talk to you next week.
Okay, again, those comments of Bill Werkheiser. Again, Wednesdays with Werkheiser, State Representative Bill Werkheiser on the phone every Wednesday from Atlanta.
All right, Big Dog Country Radio, WIFO, 105.5 FM in Jessup, world-famous Butch and Bob Show for this Wednesday morning, 21st day of February. Well, we got Joey Darley in here of Joey Smiley Photography, and a member of the Jessup Rotary Club, and he was one of the volunteers that decided to go over to India and represent our district and see what's going on over there, as the district sends quite a bit of money over there to help with projects in the rural area and some in the city area, and also for Joey to go over there and learn about the Indian culture and you know, just do things over there and see about their lifestyle and how it compares to the United States. So, good morning, Joey.
Good morning, Butch. Good morning, Bob.
Good morning.
How are you doing?
I am finally getting back on schedule.
Your body's getting back to used to Eastern Standard Time, right?
Oh yeah, it took me about a week, but I'm getting there.
So you're getting there and your body's getting back. So let's say, what date did you leave to go to India? I know we had you on the morning of the day before you left.
January the 10th.
Okay, January 10th, and you got back when?
February the 13th.
Okay, so you've been back a few days. Tell us your itinerary. When you left Jessup on the 10th, what was your schedule? Where did you go and what happened on the way to India when you got there?
Well, we left on the 10th, and we went through New York, through Dubai to Hyderabad. And our lives changed forever. Number one, it wasn't our lives. We had a schedule that started every morning and went till late at night.
Okay,
every day.
You stopped off at Dubai. How long did you stay there?
We stayed in Dubai about 6.5 hours.
Oh, not long at all then?
No.
So you got to see the big tall buildings?
Yes, we did.
Did you see any of the rich guys walking around with the tigers or lions in the front seat with them?
Almost got ran over by a Lamborghini.
Oh, did you?
We weren't paying attention.
Did you see any man-made islands off the coast there?
No, we didn't get to see that. We arrived in the afternoon, evening, but
okay.
They gave us 6 hours to go out into the country, or out, through the customs. So we had to kind of rush, get on the subway and rush, and went to see the tallest building, and went to the mall, and came right back to fly out. So.
It's just amazing that you've got that kind of city in a Muslim country.
It was clean. More clean than I've ever seen any city in the United States, and I've traveled to a lot of cities in the United States, but the roads, the sidewalks was clean. They said if you throw a piece of trash down, they don't fine you, they arrest you. They take you to jail. You can't have alcohol in the streets.
But they have alcohol in the bars and the restaurants, which is unusual for a Muslim country.
Right. But it was one of the cleanest countries I've ever seen.
Okay. And so you leave Dubai, and what town do you arrive in India?
Hyderabad.
And that is located where?
Southern India.
Southern eastern side on the
eastern
coast?
Side.
Southern eastern side.
Yes. It's a big city. It's about, like New York. But
it's that big?
With a lot more people.
A lot more people. All right, so a lot more people crammed into a small area?
Yes.
Is it in India? Is where the rural people are trying to find jobs in the cities? Is that what's going on?
It's just crowded. They have an overabundance of people. The population is expanding, and that's a big problem they're having in India, is overpopulation. But it's a growing city. It's called Twin City. There's two cities kind of joined there with a bridge. Mm-hmm. But it's really going. There's a place called High Tech City right there, which is you've got big companies going in there. IBM, Amazon, Google is there.
They do it because of the cheaper labor, or
yes.
or the folks better trained there.
I believe it's a little bit of both, but the labor, of course, is a lot cheaper there. I found out as a photographer, I could hire a photographer over there for $25, $50 a day when, you can't get nowhere near that over here.
Did you find any of the phone banks over there? Because it seems like every time you call somebody over here to the United States for help with a company, you get somebody from India with a thick Indian accent. Did you see any of those phone banks over there?
I actually talked to one guy that worked for IBM through the IBM phone bank, and he is right there in Hyderabad, and he was one of our chaperones, hosts kind of things, and he, real nice guy, real good English.
So you met with your fellow Rotarians there in India.
As soon as we got off the plane, there was an entourage with not only our host families, but tons of Rotarians. They had necklaces for us, big necklaces, adorned us. With
Now, what kind of necklaces? I know what you get when you get off in Hawaii. Of course, it's part of the United States. You get the leis, but what do they give you in India?
At different places for different things, but this was like an ornamental necklace. It had.
No, we should have brought one.
I should have brought it, but I'm going to bring everything. Gotta say this real fast. March the 8th at Sybil's, the public is invited for the Rotary Club luncheon. I'm gonna have a slideshow and show a lot of this stuff that we got over there. So you will see a lot of it.
Okay, so Joey Darley is in here this morning. Joey Smiles Photography, a Rotarian here in town, who just returned from India after a Rotarian get together over there. Did you meet the guy that was on the Butch and Bob Show last year before when he came on?
He was one of our hosts.
Okay.
When we left Hyderabad, we stayed in Hyderabad for a little over a week. We left on a train and went to Guntur, and that's where his house is and his area. In fact, he hosted 2 of our team members.
So y'all stayed in people's homes?
Yes, stayed in
Rotarians. Now, when you were in Hyderabad
homes.
for that first week, what did you do?
We visited kind of the culture that week and went out and seen a couple of the projects locally that they had done in Hyderabad.
So some of the money that's in from our district going toward these projects, is that correct?
Yes.
Now, what kind of projects?
We have a lot of things going on, more than I thought. Jessup's name was on several projects, plaques and stuff. One, we give desks to schools and to the villages, so the government schools don't provide a lot of money to the schools. So we gave desks, and it's got our name on it: Jessup, Hinesville, St. Simon's.
You take pictures of that so we can see Jessup stuff like that?
Yes, it's going to be all on the slideshow on March the 8th. But we gave bathroom. We built bathrooms. It's got our name on bathroom blocks to keep the girls in school. Hand washing stations to get them to learn cleanliness because they just didn't have a clean.
Why doesn't the government provide this? I mean, they're one of the. I know there's a lot of folks there that are uneducated, but some of the smartest, brightest minds from India seem to come over to the United States for their education. Is that correct?
No, they actually get their education over there.
They got their education there.
And they come over here to work because the money's better to work over here as far as the doctors.
But they do have they do have good education over there, right?
They do, and I found out that India is in the top 4 of the richest countries in the world.
Why can't the government? I'm just trying to understand.
Right? No. I'm totally good questions. But the same as America, sometimes they have corruption. The government doesn't give as much money to the poor areas, and especially for women and girls, they don't think they're need education as much as America does, and so they don't put a lot of money into school systems and stuff like that.
That's amazing, since they're such to have a high education. What's the prevalent religion there in the area? Hindu.
And one of the most hospitable religious people I've ever seen. They welcomed us with open arms. In fact, one of the homes I stayed in, he said it's a Hindu culture that when you have a guest in your home, and we're a guest in their home and guest in their country, you treat them as a god, and they did.
And that's the following of also Buddha also.
No, it's not.
They don't follow Buddha's teachings.
They have a lot of different gods.
Okay, I didn't know if they followed. Well, Buddha wasn't really a god; he was more, but he's a teacher. But I just thought that Hinduism followed the teachings of Buddha.
No, they followed the teachings.
Not as their religion, but his teachings.
But it's like a different religion to them.
Okay. So you were in the big city there, then you went to the next one after, and what was the second city you went to? Guntur, where your host was. And what y'all do in Guntur?
Well, that's where we actually got to see a lot of the big projects out in the poor rural areas. The bathrooms, the fresh water tanks, water filtration systems we did in some of the villages, so that the people could have fresh water.
So where do they get the water from that has to be filtered?
Well, there's water there.
Out of the ground, wells, and
there's wells there. There's reservoirs, and we saw one reservoir that went about 10 miles, and they pumped the water all the way 10 miles.
Is that a green area or more of a green area?
So it's a green area.
So you've got a lot of plants and stuff there.
A lot of plants, a lot of farming, of farming in that area.
What would you see growing over there?
Tobacco, corn. Chili capital of the world.
Chili capital, huh?
It was. Red chilies everywhere laid out on the ground. Wow. It was awesome.
So you got to see all these projects. Now, did you get your hands dirty? Did you work?
We didn't work. Because the projects were already built.
Okay.
That's why we were there to see, and then to see if we needed to do more
Right.
for other places and in those areas, which we do.
So you're from the district and you come back with all this information. What do you see, not only the Jessup Rotary Club, but the other Rotary clubs in our district? What do they need over there now? What's the next projects?
We're actually the six of us, the team members. We are actually starting a nonprofit ourselves called Happy Schools. The biggest thing is restrooms for girls. We found out from the age of around 10, 11, 12-year-old, these girls, they don't have restrooms to go in to use facilities to do their business, so they quit school and they work in factories, they work on the farms.
So they're that modest, they don't want to go into the men's restroom.
There's not even a men's.
There's not even a men's.
The men's, the boys go in the woods and on the side of walls. The girls can't. They
no restrooms.
You can consider the restroom. We went to one school that had 650 kids. The government provides the school, provides a lot of stuff, but the girls' restroom had 6 little holes that these girls were supposed to do their business. It's just no privacy, no nothing, and so
it's amazing. After all these years, and we're in the 21st century, and you're in one of the richest countries in the world. So after you finished up there, your host city with your host there at his house, what was next?
Well, like I said, we went to different projects for another week with Gunter with different hosts. We had 8 different hosts.
Oh, okay.
And so in the district 3150, there's 102 clubs. Well, every club wanted to host
132 clubs.
102 clubs.
102 clubs.
31 district 3150, and every single club wanted to see us, wanted to do something with us, wanted to show what their club's doing, because their clubs were very active in doing something for the community. And so it was just a very busy, stressful time. We went to over 60 clubs. And
60 different clubs,
sometimes
regular meetings like we have here.
Yes,
and everything.
Sometimes 2 or 3 meetings a day. Like I said, we would literally leave sometimes 8 o'clock in the morning, get back to our host families at 12 o'clock at night.
Well, I can see why they'd want to meet you. We're close. Our district's close to that district over there.
Right.
Work back and forth together on different things.
Right. And so we obliged them, and my second host brought breakfast out for me, and I said, I don't eat a lot of breakfast. And he said, well, we have a saying here in India. In the mornings, you eat like a king. At lunch, you eat like a prince. And at night, you eat like a pauper.
And that's the way it should be.
And that's the way it should be. But I told him, I said, well, you're telling me a story, because since we've been in India, at morning we've been eating like a king, at lunch we've been eating like a king, and at night we've been eating like a king. They had so much food spread out for us because they really, really treated us so well, and we ate very well.
Well, what did you
spicy.
eat? What was the cuisine that some of the most popular things that you ate there?
Biryani.
Say what again?
Biryani.
And what is that?
Chicken, or usually plain or chicken. It's a rice dish. It's very good. And Hyderabad is famous for they're the number 1 in the world for making biryani.
What kind of spices or flavors do they use on the chicken and rice? Anything?
Well, they chili powder, of course, because that's the number 1 chili area in the world.
Okay.
They have just all kind. I brought all kind. I can't even remember all, but I brought a bunch of spices back. So my wife is happy as a lark.
And what kind of beverages do you drink in people's homes? In
Water.
meetings? Water. Okay.
Or beer.
Water or beer?
They didn't have nothing else. Then we finally found soda. They
did have some soda.
They did bring out some Pepsi, Thumbs Up, and some Pepsi and some Cokes. And Thumbs Up is their version of Coke. Very good. And juice. A lot of juice.
And the homes that you stayed in had the bathrooms, running water, hot water, cold water, and all that kind of. They're just a full home like here.
We stayed in affluent people's homes. They made sure that it was some of the nicest homes, had nice beds, hot showers.
The beds, just regular mattresses like here?
Oh, no.
No, tell us about the mattresses and the beds there in India.
I've even talked to Glenn Pond and said you can make a fortune over there. The beds over there are hard, very hard.
Now, is it mattress or is it
a mattress?
plywood?
It's a very thin mattress.
Very thin.
Very hard. I got lucky in several of my homes, and about 3 of my homes had the big, thick cushion mattresses.
Mm-hmm.
So all my other teammates were kind of jealous, but it was very hard. They feel like, and they're brought up on them that if you stay on the hard, it's better for your back.
It's better for your back. Maybe I need
It was
that.
killing mine. I think I'll have
You're
bruises.
Kind of hard to sleep on your side when you're on a hard surface.
It
gets
was
into that
rough.
hip bone.
My hips were.
Now, what about the pillows over there?
Oh, they had nice pillows.
Nice
They had
pillows,
real
just hard
cushion
beds
pillows.
with
Hard bed.
thin mattresses on plywood.
On plywood.
Or on plywood, okay? Close to the ground, up from the ground.
Close to the ground.
Okay.
On a little platform. And then, like I said, every house I had a nice hot shower.
Okay.
Even had air conditioners in my rooms.
Okay, now what about the insects and bugs over there? I mean, we got the gnats here, the sand gnats, the regular gnats, mosquitoes, and all that kind of stuff. What kind of bugs do they have there?
Mosquitoes.
Mosquitoes, huh?
And I'm talking about, if you think you got a problem with mosquitoes in Georgia, think again. I mean, you couldn't go anywhere without mosquitoes. And it's funny because I didn't get bit the first time. Now, a couple of the teammates got bit several times, and they kept putting on insect repellent. I didn't get the bit the first time. I come back to Georgia, and the very second day, I got 7 or 8 bites on me.
Well, I'm one of those type of guys that if there's a group of folks and there's mosquitoes or gnats out, they're coming to me first.
Well, you will get swarmed.
I don't know. Did you have insect repellent there?
Yeah, we did, but I didn't use it because, like I said, for some reason they didn't bother me at all.
What was the average temperature while you were over there?
Average temperature was actually nice. It was in the 70s to 80s.
Oh, okay, in the 70s.
And that's their winter.
And that's their winter. Now, did you wear short pants, long pants, your own clothes, the clothes from the culture over there? What'd you wear?
Both. Mostly it was our own clothes. We took some uniform shirts, Rotary shirts, but mostly I went to Columbia and got me a couple outfits, pants and shirts, which was really cool, keeping cool over there. But when we went to some of the evening and we actually went to a Muslim wedding, they would give us Indian attire.
Okay, now what would be the average Indian attire for men and women over there? They just wear every single day around the house, at work, in the street, shops.
The men would wear jeans a lot and what they call a kurta, which is a long shirt. It goes below the knees.
It goes a long shirt that goes below the knees over the pants.
Right.
Does it have like a belt? Anything in the middle, or just
it's
a long
short
shirt?
Two pockets.
Okay, Bob, you got questions or comments for Joey? I'm kind of hogging the conversation here. So
I'm just listening.
just listening, huh? No question about him? Okay, Bob wants to know, what kind of sports should they play over there?
Cricket and badminton. And in fact, we went, one of my hosts was good friends with the millionaire that owned the badminton team, and they took us to the National Badminton Championship. And
Well,
we
they
got
can
to
make
see
that little birdie fly, can't they?
It was funny because the whole team, there weren't Indians on it. They were from all over the world. But it was, to see that badminton but cricket. I finally learned how to play cricket. Now, I played cricket one day.
Now, how do you play cricket? What kind of...
oh, my gosh.
What do they use in cricket?
It's a little rubber ball
Uh-huh.
and a long, flat bat.
Flat bat.
Yes.
Okay.
And it would take me a while to explain it, but it's just like kind of a weird way of playing baseball, but no bases.
No bases. Where do you go?
You hit the ball and you go back and forth between the stakes, 2 stakes, before the ball gets back to there, or they hit you with.
Oh, you got to be at one of the stakes, so they hit you with the ball.
Well, there's one on one stake end and one on the other, and then the pitcher runs and pitches this little rubber ball,
Uh-huh.
and if you hit it out of the ring, which is the field, that's like a home run, you get 6 points.
Uh-huh.
If not, then there's fielders out there. You've got to run back and forth. Both of y'all have to run back and forth between these 2 stakes before they get the ball back in and hit
I'll
one
have
of
to
the
watch
stakes.
it online to see how that worked. Now, did you watch or play badminton?
I did. We were one of our hosts had was in a country club, and we played a couple of hands of badminton.
You enjoyed that?
No.
No, why? You got beat?
Yes, I did, with a little Indian boy.
Little Indian boy.
a little about 10-year-old.
Showing up by a youngster, huh?
A little 10-year-old. He was good.
So you had a chance to visit all these cities, and you had a chance to go see where the projects are. The money's been sent over there for years from our district.
Right.
I know that we've had representatives from this district over here. And so you say that the next real big project that you see the district doing for our fellow district, sisters district over in India, is helping build bathrooms for kids or for women and young girls.
Yes,
right?
yes, to keep them in school.
Okay, to keep them in school so they, right, have to go home and get a job. Bob, any other questions or comments for Joey this morning? Nothing at all. Joey,
we do
what else? Go else. If you've got anything that you want to add, go right ahead. I'm just trying to keep the conversation going.
We do have 6 Indians coming in April because this was called a friendship exchange. So 6 of us went over there. 6 of them are coming over here in April to experience our culture.
In April?
In April.
This April?
This April.
Now, where will they all visit when they come here?
They're starting in Savannah, going all the way up to Macon and Forsyth, and coming back down through Jessup, and then they'll end up in St. Simon's for our district conference, April the 25th.
No, 6 of y'all that went from our district, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, now did anybody take spouses, or was just the 6
No,
of
just the 6 of us.
Okay, just 6 of you. Now, was your business still running good?
My wife did great. My wife did the women's conference. She did the 5th grade dance. She did good, worked her butt off. And I'm so glad I missed the flu season, I think. I think everybody around here had the flu season. But it was just, I can't harp enough about how the hospitality that they treated us over in India. And I'm praying that we treat the Indians when they come over here with great hospitality too. Again, March the 8th, open to the public. I would love for you to come and see the slideshow and hear more about this and see some of the outfits. I'm going to actually have an Indian outfit. If you follow me on Facebook, it's blue. Everybody thought it's a blue dress. It's a kurta. And the women wear saris, and they have their version of kurtas. But the saris, and we actually saw where the original sari maker was or is, and they're still making saris in that place.
Okay.
And that's March the 8th at Sybil's at 12 o'clock.
Okay, it's a Thursday, and then everyone's invited, and you get to see show and tell with Joey Darley about his visit to India. Will you have any local Indians in at all, or is it just going to be you doing it?
I'm doing it by myself to speech, but I've invited several, like Rick Sadak from Sadak's Packaging.
Right, we got several Indians here that own businesses. Yeah.
Nikki Patel at Marco's. Her and her husband's coming.
Did you find out why so many of the Indians here are called Patel? Is that a big name over there? Does that have a meaning to it?
There's a huge... I did find out about names because I wanted to find out about names. There's a huge hierarchy on names. And it would take a long time to explain it, but it's your name is given you by where you've been at and your ancestors.
Okay, is Patel like a title? Or is that really their last name? Because you see so many of them here in America.
Like I said, I don't know about Patel specifically, but some of the names I stayed with, it just depends on what their god name was given by their god when their ancestors started.
Okay.
So it broke off into ancestors kind of thing.
All right. Was the marriages over there...
arranged marriages.
Were they, they were arranged. Wasn't a boy and a girl falling in love. They were arranged by the 2 families. Is that right?
Arranged by the 2 families. Every family that I stayed with, their kids were arranged except for 1 or 2. And in fact, I might be going back December the 22nd. They've invited me to do the wedding. We're negotiating now if they want, because they want me to be the photographer.
Right.
So we're negotiating. It's a love marriage, and he's the dad and the grandparents are okay with it. She came to America on a trip. She met an Indian over here in America.
Wow.
But they're having a love marriage, and so they've approved it. And I found another one that had a love marriage, and it was 2 different. One was a Muslim, one was a Hindu. But they're getting more into love marriages. The culture is changing.
Most of them right now are still arranged. Does the young woman and the young man know each other before?
No.
Do they meet at the wedding, or how does that work?
I met one that they met an hour. They introduced them to an hour. They had an hour to themselves that evening to have a date, and then the next day they started their marriage.
Does the young woman have to bring a dowry?
No dowries. From the way we did it, I talked to the ones. It was different ones that's not no diaries
Not like
no
that.
more. No camels and stuff, but I did ride a camel.
Oh, you did?
I did ride a camel.
One hump or two humps?
I don't even remember. I
There's
just got
one big hump. There's a saddle on top. Bob, you can
Exactly.
hang on if you want to. Does it have a saddle on top?
Yes.
Did it have a saddle? You rode
It has,
a camel for how long?
About 10 minutes. And
About 10 minutes. Was it bouncy, bouncy, bouncy?
Yes, it was. Very rough.
Okay, and so that was fun.
Yes, it was.
It was fun. So quite an experience for Joey Darley of Joey Smiles Photography over in Indy as a representative of our district in Rotary. And I just know that the Rotarians and other folks in town can't wait to hear basically what we call your show and tell on March 8th at 12 noon at Sybil's. Everyone's invited to that Rotary meeting.
Yes, yes, and we want potential members, everybody to come and find out more about Rotary, because I didn't know as what we did is so much international that we do.
Rotary is international.
Right, it is international, and that was the biggest
deal.
thing. And we actually participated in National Polio Day, so we immunization. So we immunized babies that day. Went into the slums, what they call the slums, and immunized babies. It was wonderful, wonderful.
Okay. And so all that going on there, and we look forward to having you back on again and talking about your experiences there. But I'm going to do my best to make it to the March 8th meeting, please, and see all what you brought back and hear more of your experiences.
That sounds great. And like I said, invite everybody in April. I'm going to bring the 6 Indians here, and we'll have all 6 of them in here and have a little show.
Okay. Take care.
Thank you.
All right. Joey Darley of Joey Smiles Photography just got back from India after a month's trip there with the Rotary Club, just a Rotary Club member of the district, and they sent 6 folks over there and had a good time over there in India, watching, learning, and making new